You know, it's not easy to admit I'm a fraud, but I also believe many people live with this dirty little secret. You'll end up sharing this message with someone you care about because they're going to be able to relate to it. But before we get started, I think it's important to share why I believe I'm a fraud, and more importantly, why you may believe this as well about yourself. You know, for the longest time, I worried that I would be exposed as a untalented faker, that all my accomplishments have been due to luck. I mean, think about it. After all, I'm a college dropout with no formal business training, so what other logical answer would there be? And I was told as a kid, not by one, but by two friends' parents, that I would never amount to anything because I just didn't take school seriously enough. So to have this impact me as a grown adult probably isn't that shocking. However, I began doing some research on the topic, and I discovered a psychological phenomenon known as imposter syndrome. And it's a belief that you are inadequate, incompetent, essentially that you're a failure, despite the evidence that indicates that you're actually pretty skilled and perhaps successful in your own right. You know, the challenge is it makes people feel like an intellectual fraud. And studies have actually linked this to self-belief and anxiety and low confidence, maybe even self-sabotage. Perhaps that sounds familiar. Maybe someone you know intimately. And that's why I'm saying this message needs to be shared. It's something most people struggle with, yet we don't talk about it. I mean, if you're like most people, you've posted something on Facebook or Instagram. Let's say it's a happy family moment. Meanwhile, Family World War III just ended 1 minute prior to that photo. I mean, come on, right? You're a fraud. Or maybe you're just afraid to talk about something that you've worked so hard to achieve because others will judge you, calling you out as a bragger, or worse, maybe they just say that you're lucky. Now, before you start saying, "Thanks, Brian, now I feel even better about myself," well, the good news is I have a couple best practices that I want to share with you. Now, the first one's pretty easy. I want you to make a list, and this will require pen and paper, but make a list of 5 things that you know in your heart are true about you. But answering with full integrity with yourself. That means do not lie to yourself. What do you know that's true about you and your core values? And people are not going to criticize or reject you when you do this because only you, of course, are going to see the answers. But what is true to you? Now, second is to make a list of 5 things that others say are true about you. Now, I'm not sure if I need to state this, but these are positive things, not negative things. But what are the things that people say about you time and time again? Then you're going to take both these lists and you're going to compare them and you're going to save them. And what I want you to do next week is pull that list out and look at them again. Now, over time, if you do this weekly, you'll be shocked when you begin to focus on the actual words. Not just you, but what other people say. You'll uncover the evidence to support what you wrote. You know, we can project all our insecurities and make others responsible for what we believe about ourselves. But that's bullcrap. Or you can choose to take responsibility for your actions and for what happens to you, especially your success. I'll never forget my grandma Parsley. And when I was a little boy, she said, "Son, if a dog doesn't wag his own tail, who will?" What amazing advice. And that advice we can use today. We can go out there and live it. You know why? Because you need to go wag your tail. Be proud of what you've accomplished. Because if you don't do that, then that is what makes you a real fraud.